And the day has come. Episode 180, PC 98. I've been salivating for this podcast all year. Very excited. How you guys doing?
Sure you have.
Doing all right.
Doing all right? You guys get up on your hentai games for this podcast? Get really into it?
The hentai was mostly removed in the YouTube videos I watched.
Aw, come on. You gotta emulate this shit.
Who's got time for that?
Well, come on. Yeah, you had 6 months to prepare for this podcast. You telling me you didn't spend all that 6 months brushing up on your hentai knowledge, get the boners ready, and then play knockoff games of better games?
No, I didn't.
You're right. You're right. What have I been doing with my life?
Bet you're going to work, making money, paying bills like a reasonable adult. But what fun is that? What fun is that? You have to spend all your hard-earned money on hentai games, particularly trying to revive the very famous in the 90s PC 98, which I successfully have emulated on my fun little retro handhelds that I have. Well, at least one of them. The Miu Mini Plus could not handle the PC 98. Now, trying to play some of these PC 98 games while I was at the bowling alley is kind of awkward. You gotta go, uh-oh, hold on. I shouldn't play this in public. Which probably is a sign this isn't, you shouldn't do that.
Boy.
So I spoke about the PC 98 earlier this year when I basically kind of just went into a deep dive on it and tried to figure out, like, what's the history of this thing, because honestly, my knowledge of it was basically zero. It was around there. Were you guys kind of the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an NEC computer system, very much specialized in eventually just making games that people would kind of program and make at home, and then it hit the Dojin market, your fan-made markets that they'd have in Japan, and I believe Rusty, which is the first game we're going to talk about later, was it's kind of the most famous of them all and became an actual published video game for the PC 98. So that's kind of the history there. And then naturally we had to play some sort of hentai-esque game, and I didn't want to just straight up make you guys play a visual novel like that I've been playing. It's called no reason to have who's on first here. That thing is just a straight up visual novel with some raunchy scenes every now and again, and very much in the realm of let's have sex kind of situations a lot. So I wasn't going to put you guys through that. I wanted to pick out two games that were actual games, not a visual novel, and one being kind of a fan-made situation, and then another being a mech game is the idea. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching, playing, or at least learning about the PC 98 here, because this was super fun for me. Not sure how much you guys dove into it. I expect, Joey, you just kind of like went, all right, here's two games, I'm just going to throw on some videos or try to emulate and then be good from there.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's almost
That's
like
my approach too.
I gave up after one of the games where a sperm was chasing me, so I said I'm done with this.
Whoa, they were
What the fuck?
They were spirits, Joey. How dare you suggest that they are floating sperm coming at you in a castle? That is a crazy insinuation. All right. So before we get into that, what have you guys been playing? Who wants to go first? Joey, Colin?
I'll go first.
Joey, all right.
Keep it short and sweet. I mean, playing Expedition 33, working through New Game Plus, and then got Nice Day for Fishing on Steam. And
Nice Day for Fishing?
Yeah, it's a game from Viva La Dirt League. They're on YouTube. They made their own game for one of their characters. It's basically just a tedious quest type game where you go fishing and complete quests and save the world.
Okay.
And then
sounds a bit like Dredge.
a little bit, but you actually have to move your reel up and down to get the fish, and then the fish can attack. So you have to stop attacking at some points and sometimes defend. So yeah, it's a little more into the fishing than just dredge. And then I got the executive movie industry tycoon, which it's a decent little game.
Okay. So how far are you into New Game Plus for Expedition 33?
I am just about to get into the village.
The Gestural Village?
Yeah.
Okay. That might be... That probably is the most lighthearted area of the game, next to meeting SKA.
Yeah.
I love it. We'll get into more Expedition 33 talk because I beat the game completely, except Simon. So we'll get there in a second. But Joey, is that all you got? Short and sweet?
Yep, that's all I got.
All right, Colin, you're up.
2, I've been playing Expedition 33.
Yes, yes.
About 3 hours in.
Okay.
I'm at the point where you start wandering the overworld, Final Fantasy VII style. That's like right past the first boss. And so far I'm liking it. I mean, it took me a number of tries to get past the first boss. But once I realized I was better off dodging its physical attacks instead of parrying, it went a lot smoother. Just couldn't get the timing right on that. I'm still trying to get my head around how pictos, stains, and all that other stuff works.
Oh,
But
it takes
sure.
it takes a bit.
It takes forever because
Yeah.
there's 193 of them.
There's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I like how they'll occasionally curse in French. You're like, merde and putain.
Yeah. Shit fuck. Shit fuck cock. Right. Yeah, exactly.
And the beginning, where the expedition makes landfall and subsequently gets decimated, reminded me a lot of the spire scene at the beginning of Resistance: Fall of Man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just both you and the main character feeling intense hopelessness against the odds. Hell, Gustav almost shoots himself.
That beginning sequence with Gustav is crazy because if Lune doesn't show up when she does, he's blowing his brains out. Like 100% he's doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And he's surrounded by the corpses of all of his fellow expeditioneers.
A couple of his from that particular place, and then a lot of past ones
From previous.
Yeah. Which begs the question: how many people were on each expedition?
Well, from what they talked about in the beginning, we know Expedition 33, I think, had one or two more than 34, but they were both lacking because people in the village are saying less and less people are signing up for it. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing they used to be huge, and now they're just like this 20, 30 person thing.
Right. Yeah, and once upon a time, it really makes it feel like there were hundreds and hundreds of people. Like the place was so
Everything
much
that happens,
bigger and
population
populated.
just keeps getting
smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Break the cycle. Remember that phrase.
Yeah, for sure. I also get plenty of Near Automata vibes out of it.
Oh yeah, Colin, when you get to the Gestural Village, that is straight up Near Automata hilarity ensuing.
Yeah, it reminds me of the.
I swear these people had Yoko Taro on their writing staff.
The village does remind me of the carnival from Near Automata.
Yeah.
That should be good. And I'm still making my way through Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity here and there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think I'm pretty close to the end of the main story, or at least 3/4 of the way through. I really want to finish it so I can get started on Sea of Stars. And I started up Blaster Master 03 as my new toilet game. So far, more of the same, but that's not a bad thing.
That was
And
one of the
that's
that was one of the games on your list this year.
that is correct, along with Sea of Stars.
Yeah. Did you beat Stick of Truth, by the way?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I still got Armored Core 6, Space Marine 2, and Stellar Blade to play on my PS5.
Plenty of games.
But I'll get to those after Expedition 33. Everything is on hold for that game, except what's on my Switch.
I mean, it's my game of the year. I mean, for sure. But
Although I did take a bit of time to play the Dead Cells Castlevania DLC.
did you beat that?
Not yet,
Not yet.
although I realized I was playing on hard mode
Oh God.
because it's one of those options you can do at the very beginning of each run, just so you can get like boss cells, and then that unlocks other stuff. But I think I should probably start off on normal.
Mm.
I mean, there's so much more shit to unlock ever since I last played it. I mean, it was literally back in 2019 that I last played the game, and so much more content has been released for it. They even have like references to other games. Like one of the weapons you can get is a crowbar straight out of Half-Life.
Ha.
There's even little bits in the description referring back to Half-Life. Good for getting rid of little crabs that cling to your head. Shit like that. It's really funny. But yeah, main focus is Clair Obscur for now.
Excellent. All right. So shall we just dive into it, Joey?
Yep.
Okay. So I did beat it, Colin. I'll stay away from spoilers because they are like every twist and turn of the story is very much worth it. I don't want to spoil it for you. Until you beat the game, we'll stay spoiler free whenever we talk about the game. Fair enough?
Much appreciated.
Okay.
I will do that except for Expedition 60. I will sing their praises.
All right, yeah, they're not spoiling anything, but that is funny as fuck. So you told me to go find this thing, because throughout the game you find journals of past expeditions, and near the end ish, you come across Expedition 60's journal, and this shit is so funny. So, Joey, you do the honors because you're the one who got to it first.
They are the mightiest expedition ever. They decided that the only way that you can win is by having the perfect body and just being strong. And that's what they did. There's you learn later to get to the paintress there's a barrier. I'm not going to say anything else about that, but they forced themselves through the barrier. Nothing else but just being strong.
My mighty muscles will not be stopped by some puny barrier.
So they're amazing. So if you can, whenever you get to Act 3, you need to find their journal. It's just amazing. They're the best.
Yeah, they almost beat it. They almost got to the end.
That sounds like something straight out of an anime.
Oh, it's funny as hell. It's so great. They're just like, oh well, we have to actually do this. We'll swim back to where we need to go, but they ran out. They just ran out of time. That's it. That's why they didn't. That's why they didn't win. Is because time was not on their side. So that implies that most of the people on the expedition, like, they were out there for like a year, right? Is that what that implies?
Yeah, it seems like it. I don't think any expedition, because none of the journals allude to it, survived longer than a year. Because I think mostly it's people who are about to be Gramage, they went on. So it's like Mael is kind of a rare thing, because usually no one will give up a decade to go on this expedition.
Right. Yeah, Mael is very much a rarity. But my understanding and my interpretation is the majority of the people have a year left to live, and that's when they go on this expedition. And then it whittles down over time until everyone either runs out of time or, I don't know, eats a poison mushroom for some reason. Which that was one of the ones I laughed at the most next to Expedition 60. I think that was like Expedition 82 or something. They're just like, okay, we're in this cave with SKA. What a dope! And then it's like he gave us some mushrooms to eat, and now we're all dying. Yeah. So Expedition 60 was very much a amazing part of the game. It was great. They could totally make a spin-off of just that. Like Expedition 60 DLC. How great would that be?
Sounds a bit like Halo Reach.
Like that's the kind of content I want instead of a sequel.
Yeah. I would totally pay for that.
Yeah.
Just get rid of all the pictos. All you are is just physical. No weapons. You just punch shit.
Yeah. Well, Mael and Gustav pretty much said that what made 33 so unique was that they have all this technology on their side with Lumina, so they could...
Because it was Gustav and Lune. They researched a shit ton into that. So like his arm and shit. So yeah, they were technologically advanced compared to other ones.
Yeah, so I just love how the game always makes sure to tie, not even loose ends, just tie ends like that. Yeah. So, let's see. I believe last I let off, I had, what did I do? I finished... Oh, I can't even remember where I last left off for the podcast purpose.
I think you were at the Axions for the podcast, or right before.
Oh, I was about to take them on. That's right. So, in this section of the game, you have to... Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, no, it was yeah, because you have to take the Axions on because you first meet Verso, that character. Yeah, because it was that huge twist at the end of Act 1, and I was so I played half the game in the last week and a half, basically. More than that, actually.
Well, you took my advice, although you didn't spend a week on it, and you spent a whole weekend playing.
Oh my God, Colin, let me describe this. I took an entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, all day Saturday, and then most of Sunday, and then yesterday I finished up endgame stuff, and I just got a bottle of bourbon, sat down on my couch, and fucking drank myself into a stupor trying to beat this game. I'm like, I am not leaving this couch until I finish this. So yes, Joey, I did take your advice. I did not go play golf because it was raining. So I'm like, this is the perfect day to do this. I didn't go to work. I went to work yesterday, but that was only in the morning. Yeah, so the Axims, the two Axim fights are my favorite parts of the game. The third one that I did before I beat the game, where you meet, I guess it's like the totally not Mael clone situation going on. You'll figure that out like immediately, Colin. Yeah, there's this giant tower, and I was expecting something more grandiose going into it, much like the first two Axim fights. It kind of wasn't that at all, but it was certainly very story important, which I'll compare directly to Nier Automata. Every time I did a side quest, if you will, in Expedition 33, everything felt relative and important and a reason to do it all. Like, I never felt like I was wasting my time doing any of this, which is why I put 45 hours into this game in total when I beat it at, I could have probably beat it at like 25, 27, somewhere around there.
The only thing in the game that's a waste of time are the Gestural Beach games.
I tried that one time. I got almost to the top, and I went, nope, not doing it again.
I did that, but that was the last thing I needed to do to 100% everything.
Yeah.
So I had to climb that damn tower.
Yeah, did not do that. Platforming is very much an annoyance in this game. It's not a strong point. So I don't recommend that at all. Yeah, there were a couple things where I went, well, I tried. I'm not going to waste my time and do it again.
Well, there are 4 Axions. One of them's dead before the story.
Oh, right. The one that Simon kicked the shit out of.
Yeah, and you can see the body in the overworld.
Right.
Which that was pretty cool. Then you're like, oh, all these swords. Then you see Simon like, oh.
Yeah, it's
okay.
like, oh, he's the one that fell that Axon. Yeah, very cool. Very cool part of the story there. I kind of wish that was part of the main storyline, not the super endgame boss type situation. But man, oh man. So Colin, let me describe what I did. Okay. I played through the first 2 acts, got to Act 3, and what happens is you have a choice when you get to Act 3. You can immediately beat the game and then go into endgame stuff, or you could do all the side content, which is what I thought I needed to do, because I thought when you beat the game, it immediately kind of starts you over and options to New Game Plus. This one doesn't do that. It just, once you beat it, it just loads to your very last save before that moment. So then you can just keep doing side and endgame content before that battle. So that's a really cool thing. I wish a lot of games would do that.
You don't enter New Game Plus until you go to a flag and select New Game Plus.
Yeah, that's an amazing option. Now, could you accidentally do that?
It warns you. It pops up the warning saying, hey, you lose this stuff, you start over, kind of thing.
Yeah, so I love that option. I didn't know that was the thing until I had already essentially done all of the endgame stuff. So I beat the 3rd Axum. I went to just about every single island or area and experienced different things, got some new weapons, and then I got this ability to swim/dive. And I was like, oh, I stumbled upon this bubbly kind of surface area, and I'm like, oh, I bet I could dive into this. So then I get into an area called Renoir's Draft, and this was kind of the last thing I was gonna do before I went and beat the end boss. So keep in mind, I've gone to all these separate places, beaten all these side boss contents, gotten all these weapons. I never did get Mael's best weapon, but I did get Seal's best weapon. I'm not sure if Lune has a best weapon or not. I had different aspirations for her build. I mean, it was essentially Lune keeps Mael and Seal alive, and Seal and Mael just beat the shit out of my opponents. So I'm in this Renoir's Draft, and there's these enemies that use Blight, and Blight is a hit in which it takes a percentage of your health, and each time they hit you, it decreases your health permanently through that point. And even if you, I don't remember if I brought them back to life, they could, if they were only revived at 1 health. So basically, they just go down into 1 health, and I have to constantly be a perfect parry dodger in order for them to survive. So these battles would just take me fucking forever, or I would die, or I'd come across these dog creatures that had these attacks that were virtually impossible to parry and dodge properly. Colin, this area is hard as shit. So here I am, drunk on bourbon, and I'm texting Joey. I'm like, Joey, what the fuck is with this area? It's so hard. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's endgame area. I'm like, oh, all right. So I'm like, okay, I got all this experience. I'm level 75 or something, 76. I finally get to what I think is the end. I finally get Seal's best weapon that I read about. I was like, oh, here it is. Cool. Get to the end, and then I go through this portal, and Joey goes, enjoy the abyss. Like, oh god, I thought this was the end, like every other level in this game. Ah, crap. So I go into this area and I go, what's in this area? And Joey just in the text goes, enjoy Simon. Meet Simon. So I meet Simon, and he kills me in like one hit. Colin, this guy is the end game of end game bosses. Joey recommends to play at level 90, and I go,
90 plus.
in yeah, 90 plus, and I see why. 70, you can't even last a hit. One hit kills you. You have to be completely perfect otherwise.
Yeah, if you're not perfect, you gotta be way up in the levels.
So after I beat the game, I went there again, and I had come across a random enemy on an island I just came across, and he has anti-blight. So an anti-blight Pictos. I'm like, oh great, cool. And then I really just reformatted my character's Pictos to have like second chance revive and anti-stun, anti-blight, like all these anti one-hit kill things, or that nerfs my team from attacking. Everyone's situated like that. I have the cheater Pictos, so I go twice in a row. I have first strike, all these key things. So my character's Lumia, like my main three, we're in the like 200s by the end of this, and I'm at level 80. I beat Simon, and then Joey texted me because I was so proud. I sent him a picture and everything. It's like, I did it! Yay! It only took me like hours to do this. And he goes, well, did you beat a second form? I'm like, fuck you, second form. Cool ass cutscene. And yeah, he just beats my ass again. And I'm like, oh, this is why Joey said 90 plus, because you need the health in order to at least survive another attack or two. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm good. I don't need to grind for 12 more levels just to beat a second form boss. So I watched the video. It's a cool little end scene, end game type thing. If you got the time, I do recommend it. I just don't feel like having the time. I want to play other games at this point. But Simon's cool as shit. I thought it was a cheap-ass boss. It's actually not set up that way until the second form. That's the only part in the entire game where I felt like I had to grind. Because by the time I was done going through all the side content and everything, I was at level 80, able to beat everything, including the first phase of Simon. And I'm like, there isn't enough stuff out there for me to just grind 12 levels just to do this one fight. If I was a teenager again, or hell, even in college and I had all that free time, yeah, I'd do that. No problem. Now, I did do the Painter's Mystery. I forget what there's 3 areas of like a Painter's Mystery, and it all ends in this cool Lampmaster battle. The Lampmaster you end up fighting like 3 times in this game. First time is really cool. The second time is what I'm describing here, which is another like really tough boss fight. And then the third time is with what's called the Flying Manor. That was the very last thing I did in the game. Well, besides the trying to beat Simon fight. You gotta try it at least once or twice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed in the Flying Manor.
I liked it.
It's 4 previous boss battles, a little bit harder, that you come across in the game, and then you fight Clea, which is a character I won't spoil, but it's basically her attack is she can summon other Nevrons to do her battle for her, and that's kind of her special attacks. So you have to be really good at parrying, because if you miss a parry or a dodge, specifically you need to parry, she'll revive her health at least 500,000 per move. So you got to be able to do at least, plus 500,000 hit, so she's not just reviving herself back to life each time. Very difficult, very long battle, but it does serve a purpose to the story, which we're missing a lot about the character of Clea. which could very well be a prequel or sequel to this game, which I think it could absolutely. They got a lot of content that they could do with just the world, the outside world, going into different canvases that it talks about. I'm excited to see what this company can do with this series, because it's not just Expedition 33 that they could go across. They could do Expedition 0. They could do side character content involving Clea. They could do the family kind of situation going on. What's Renoir's past? Could do all that. Do you agree, Joey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
sounds pretty full of potential.
Oh yeah, I think it's I think with the world that they've built and the game mechanics, this is a franchise in the making. It's not as limited to, say, the Uncharted series, because the Uncharted series, while they made 4, 5, 6 games out of it, based on a mystery, this has so much more wiggle room for what you can do. Like we talked about Expedition 60, you could make that just a full-on action game if you wanted. It doesn't have to be this turn-based RPG.
Play that.
Yeah. So the
Kinda
side
like
content's very much
Dynasty Warriors.
or yeah, Dynasty Wars. I mean, I'm not into those games, but yeah, it could certainly work. The twists and turns it makes is very much an enjoyable ride. Joey, what do you think how they handled Act 3 in how the story beat of the game completely changes? Do you think that was done well? Do you think that was done?
Yeah. I think it was done really well.
Yeah, I've seen some critique about it saying it kind of makes the whole game come to a floor stop. But like I said, you have two options. You can continue the game and go across the world and make your discoveries, or you could just beat it, which would match the story.
Yeah, I just beat it. I mean, I think I did a little bit of content, but I just went and beat it.
Yeah, my mistake was I did all of the content, basically, except the Flying Manor and Simon and a couple other areas. But I basically did everything. And then I went to the endgame boss and just absolutely obliterated him. Colin, I was like at least 15, 20 levels higher than I should have been going into that fight, because the fight took like a minute and a half. It was like immediate death for the end boss of the game.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Even climbing the tower for the third Axon, I was very much just beating the hell out of it. Now, I never did the Endless Tower. I didn't bother.
That's fun.
What can you tell me about the Endless Tower?
You just refight fights, but they come in threes. So, like, then it gets harder. There's 33 levels. So it's split up to like floor 1 with 1, 2, 3 for fights. And the third fight on each one is really hard. It's kind of like a boss or some sort. So it ends up. And I think the last one is the last boss and then the paintress together.
Whoa.
So, and it's a great place for Manoka to get his skills.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Monoko's a funny character. I love him. The banter between him and Verso are very funny.
Yeah, and he's unique. He doesn't get skill points. He has to obtain his skills by defeating the enemies and taking their feet.
Yeah, gotta polish that never on feet. I love
It's
it.
like a blue mage.
So yeah, I watched someone on YouTube that said he's like a blue mage. So yeah.
Yeah, the fighting as Monoko's takes some getting used to, because he uses the Neveron feet, but he has these masks that he changes in and out of on the spinning wheel. A very interesting dynamic to him. Verso I found not very helpful. Now, if it was like a one-on-one battle, I was more prone to use him, but he just didn't mold well into my team very much at all.
I have him as an endless free shoot build.
Yeah, you just
It's not
either
completely endless,
mark
but I can
enemies
do-
or something.
Yeah, I can like shoot like 20 times because There's like one that you get like a 30% chance to get a AP back if you hit, and then another one if you hit a mark, there's a chance to get it back. So he's just sitting there marking them and getting back some AP as you shoot.
Yeah, I didn't really use him all that much at all. I just never really found a good way to use him. Now, Monoko, on the other hand, I found a great way to use him, whether it was healing. Now, I saw a lot of people use what's called like inverted affinity for the beginning of
That's what I
battles.
use. Yep. That's why I one-shotted Clea and Simon. So a very risky move, because if I didn't one-shoot him, I'm dead because I'm down to 1 health and there's no way I'm surviving those fights.
Yeah, and then you have just no chance to actually bring your health back up. Now, there is a sweet Pictos that I did end up building onto my Allen Seal, and that was if you have any health back after a turn, you get it all back. That was super useful. So as long as you just don't get like one-shot killed, you're good. That was very much key to my end game play. Yeah, phenomenal game. It's my game of the year. Not a whole lot of other stuff has like come out this year, but this is far and away the best. If anyone votes for like Tears of the Kingdom on Switch 2, I will ignore their opinions going forward because that is not a new game. Shut up. Haven't played Mario Kart World yet on the Switch 2. I will be getting a Switch 2 probably near the end of the year. Is my guess I'd be able to get it. It's going to be sold out for a while, for sure.
I mean, 3.5 million units sold in the first 4 days.
Yeah, I mean,
That's insane.
Yeah, it's an upgrade to the Switch. I don't have an issue with this move. The Switch has been out a long time. It's now fully. It's got the full HD and everything. It's the next iteration. It's like going. It feels like it's going from PS3 to PS4, to me.
I will say,
we'll see.
Of the next gen consoles, Xbox is the one that has me the most interested.
Why is that?
Because it's going to have Steam on it.
Oh, well. Yeah, that would certainly interest me.
And then you get the PlayStation games that are on Steam on it. So
eventually,
if you're okay waiting a couple of years for PlayStation games, you pretty much get everything on that Xbox console.
Yeah, but people like playing things in the now. But yeah, if you have just a smidge of patience, then no issue there.
I mean, like, how many exclusives were on for the PS5? So you're only really missing
not that many.
A handful of games.
Yeah.
The only one I can think of is Stellar Blade. And even that's not exclusive anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, now it's on PC. Now. But yeah, like Joey said, if you just have patience for a year or two, then you're good. Everything is kind of timed exclusive these days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nintendo's got it kind of set where it's just you have to buy our thing. Now, is that...
Well, I'm still willing to wait. I've still got an ass load of Switch games that I still have to play.
Yeah, I got my list going here still with the game tracker for 2025, and Clair Obscur is easily the game I've played the most in this calendar year. I'm not quite putting podcast games on this list. Just to reiterate, these are games I'm playing on the side. I did boot back up Echoes of Wisdom on the Switch. I only played like a few hours of that last year. I got 2.5 dungeons left, and I've beaten that game. I finally got used to how a lot of the mechanics work in the game, and I was always afraid to. So it's for those that aren't aware of Echoes of Wisdom, the Zelda game. It's you are actually Zelda, and she has this creature that follows her around and gives her a power to copy essentially enemies and objects. And you have to utilize these enemies and objects to do your battles for you and be able to set up goofy little platforms so you can traverse the world and solve puzzles. And she also has this like ethereal sword and bow that has limited energy, so you have to use this sparingly. Now I'm at the point of the game where I have enough energy at my disposal to kind of utilize enemy copies, and I can go off and fight. So I'm kind of obliterating enemies at this point and through the game. It took a little bit, but I'm having I'm having a lot more fun with it than the early stages of the game where you're very limited based on what you have. I could do a little bit without the platform sections in between each main dungeon. Those get a little repetitive and tiring. I'm not into those anymore, but I'm also way faster at them than I was the first couple. So, not my favorite Zelda game I've ever played. It's far from my least favorite. I'd say it's somewhere in the low middle. If you're into, I would say, Link's Awakening and that style of Zelda game, then this would be for you. It's not as good as Link's Awakening, but it's around that tier of Zelda game, I would say.
Never really had an interest in playing the remake of Link's Awakening. I mean, the Game Boy version already knocked it out of the park. What do
It
I
did.
need with the remake?
Well, remake's got the updated graphics and gameplay and everything. Really fleshes quality of life stuff out. If you're into that and you find it worth it, then get it. I found it worth it. I enjoyed it. Echoes of Wisdom is very much along that line.
I don't know. I kind of feel like with the remake, something was lost with the new style. It just didn't really grab me.
All right.
And I've already got another ass load of games to play as it is, so if it's not going to sell me on that, then I'm not going to bother.
I feel you.
My time is precious.
All right. So with that, I will play the drop and we can talk about our totally not porn games. Here we go. Alrighty, 42 minutes into this podcast, and we are talking the PC-98. This was my theme pick. Again, I kind of went into a discovery early in the year. I threw this on the list, and I picked two games that are very much of what I discussed at the top of the podcast. So, overall thoughts over the two games, guys. What'd you think?
Meh.
Meh? Wasn't impressed?
I mean, they weren't.
Yeah, the gameplay was functional. And
Functional.
in the case of one, it was very reminiscent of other games we've played.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Of course, the porn scenes were completely omitted from a YouTube watch that I did.
Yep, you can't put porn on
one of 'em.
YouTube, Colin. Hate to tell you.
Why the hell am I on there to begin with?
So each of these two games, according to How Long to Beat, takes about 3 hours. I disagree with that because both these games have, I think, an enormous difficulty curve. One game is a little easier than the other. Ultimately, the PC-98 itself was a fan. It became a fan system. It was one of the most popular computers to buy in Japan, Asia, for its existence in the 90s. The more games came out, I thought, and most of these games would come on like 6 to 10 floppy disks that you'd have to go through a wacky installation process, a large boot up system, going in and out of the floppy disk. I never experienced early computers because I just didn't have one when I was growing up. Joey, what was it like with a lot of the like MS DOS stuff?
What was it like?
Yeah, I know there was floppy disk and everything, but I would like
Yeah.
save one Word document on it. I never got to experience gaming like that in the 90s. I had a Nintendo, I had a PlayStation. I didn't have a computer.
Well, even at that time, I didn't, but my school did, and we used to have a 30-minute hour computer class once a week,
Well, I had
and
that, yeah.
you had to put the disc in, and then turn it on to run shit. But we also had some apples from mainly like Macintosh ones or twos. I forget which one it was at that time.
I had that too, but we would throw a floppy disk in and that would give us like the typing lesson class uh or we'd be able to play like Gizmos and Gadgets and
Gizmo
Oregon
Gadgets,
Trail.
yeah. Yeah, we had a Paint we could do as well, or something similar to Paint. I don't think it was MS Paint at the time. But yeah, but no, when I got a PC, it was a Windows 95, so it was right after DOS anyway.
Okay, so we were into CDs at that point in time.
No, still discs. So, but I mean, even early CDs, sometimes you needed multiple discs to install games,
Yeah.
and then you would go back to disc one to play. So it'd be kind of the same thing with floppies, but I think you would have to switch out during gameplay. So it'd be like, okay, switch to this disc.
Yeah, when I was doing the emulator with booting up the visual novel with time travel elements that I'm playing, uh, I was watching the original like way how to boot this up, and it has 8 floppy disks. Okay, and uh, first disc was installation, second disc was installation of the sound, third disc was installation of the music, fourth disc was installation of I think some various cutscenes or something. Then you had to go back to the first disc so you could then be able to boot it up, and then it made you and then it made it kick you to the sixth disc for some reason, and then back to the second one where then it would go through a different program and then you'd be able to play the game. I believe I have that sequence right. It's very like the instruction booklet is wild. I was looking at it online, and a lot of these games functioned very much the same way. Rusty, I believe, has 5 discs. That is the first game we're going to talk about, so let's dive into it. It is an action game developed and published by C Lab, July 1993. It did eventually come out on MS DOS with an option, so you could have played it that way. This is an absolute Castlevania 3-4 knockoff game. It's the exact same thing with larger sprites, so very much closer to like the PC Engine type movement and very elongated rectangle sprites.
Before I even read the wiki, I described it to myself as horny anime Castlevania.
Horny anime Castlevania. Well, Castlevania itself is anime.
But not horny anime.
I mean, it's not horny. It's just a horrible night for a corset. Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
Just because the main character.
That was a
Just
good
because the
joke.
main character is a hot chick running around in a dominatrix leotard, rescuing other hot chicks with their cleavage on full display, doesn't mean it has anything to do with porn.
That's right. Nothing. It's just
Or
a
horny
Castlevania.
shit.
It's just a Castlevania clone with hot sprites, basically, attractive sprites. Look, I thought it played pretty well. I wasn't a fan of the jump mechanic, but that was very much a PC Engine, TurboGrafx 16, even the like Sega Master System type way it would play. But the whip, the enemy designs, I thought that all worked out. It in ways it was a lot easier than say Castlevania 3 and 4. I wish it utilized a lot more of its power-up system and the way that you could traverse levels. And what I mean by that is, like in the first and second level, you can use your whip to for it to go on rings, and you do a cool like vine whip motion kind of deal to go over longer platforms and whatnot, and chasms and spike pits and that kind of thing. Wish there was a little more of that rather than moving platforms up and down, where if you slightly miss the jump, you go down like 5 parts of the level. Now, if this was Castlevania, you'd like die instantly because you fell off the screen. Rusty doesn't do that. Rusty has a lot more room for it's elements that makes the game easier than say a Castlevania game. Now, because of the long sprites, when you come across the like spike traps that are coming from the ceiling or the swinging axes from the ceiling, you have to time those pretty much perfectly or it's instant death. This does have a live system. Yes, I did save scum this pretty hard in particular sections, namely those spike traps and whatnot, because I never really got a good feel for the hitbox and how it would detect that stuff. So as for the plot itself, this is kind of funny. Women have been abducted in various villages throughout a European countryside. So totally not Romania or Hungary or anything like that. They have been transformed into monsters via the demons that possess them, and they are known as the 8 Fiends, which tells you immediately how many main levels there are. This is a very much longer platforming game. And your main enemy for now is called Bloody Mary. She is the queen of Bloodthorn Castle. And she wants to revive this ancient vampire dude, Monte Carlo. So it also tells you this is maybe the French countryside based on that. There is another character named Gato. He's kind of this masked guy. He's part of that. You end up fighting him. There's realistically like 10 bosses, 10 levels to this. It's fairly long. And the basically Rusty is totally not Simon Belmont, comes across a village and the village is like, "Hey girl, you're a vampire hunter. Well, we got some vampire problems. Go to that castle." And she's like, "Okay, with my dominatrix leotard and my terrible looking whip, I will go on my way." Rusty Springcoal.
Question.
What's up?
Question.
Okay.
In the cutscenes, her outfit is red, but in gameplay, it's blue.
I was
Make that
baffled
make
by
sense.
that too. In every cutscene, she has the red outfit and the like the red hair going on, and then when you play, she's got like blue outfits and blonde hair or something.
I'm
It's
pretty sure her hair was green
green,
across
green,
the
green,
board.
green. Yeah, I could have. I
At least in the video I watched.
thought the cutscene it was different color.
It's the same in gameplay and
okay.
cutscene.
Well, regardless, her outfit does change.
Yeah. But yeah, Rusty Spring Coal. That was a strangely translated name.
Yeah, very much. She does have a sprint
Okay.
button option, which you have to utilize in sections.
I was actually going to say, is Rusty the English version of Lusty?
Now, where would you get that idea, Colin? Yeah,
right,
I would say so.
Yeah. Makes sense. Spring Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice spelling there, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, Lusty Sprinkle. Not yeah, we could we could make some insinuation there. We can assume that means something like of a golden shower situation. Oh god. All right, tell me what you guys thought. I spoke a lot about this game.
It was okay. Hard. I got to the second level and then gave up after the sperm because I was like, I don't feel like playing this.
I got through the 4th level, just before. Yeah, this game has a clock level, just like Castlevania 3.
And Circle of the Moon.
Yeah, a lot of
Seems to be
Castlevania games have it.
Yeah, it seems to be a staple of it. Got to be at least one Clockwork Steampunk type stage.
Yeah, this game didn't have a lot of slowdown, which I was pretty shocked about. I thought it was going to have a lot more.
You get a high enough performing version of the PC-98. I'm sure it's no problem. I mean, back when I was a kid and we had our PC with Windows 3.1 and all that, it fucking some games were a bit of a crapshoot in terms of getting it to work. Some would stop mid-load, and others wouldn't load at all, and others worked just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, this used the 5.5-inch floppy disks, which were beasts. They look like small books in themselves.
Yeah, the Commodore 64 was very much the same way. Actually, I think those were 8-inch floppies.
Oh my god, I can't imagine. Might as well get a straight up like yellow notepad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Colin, how would you compare this to Castlevania in how it plays versus itself? Did you find it easier like I did?
I was watching YouTube videos, so I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I kind of liked the ability that you could to like whip upward.
Yes. Oh my god, very
rem-
useful.
reminded me of Super Castlevania 4, except in Super Castlevania 4, you could actually whip in all 8 directions.
Yeah.
This is just like 4 directions.
Yeah, that's where I kind of made the Rondo of Blood reference, because I don't think you could whip diagonally in that one. So the game made with the enemies, in terms of Rusty, I thought it was made well, so you wouldn't feel limited. They would position themselves nicely above you or horizontally to you. And then some enemies had like annoying timing. I think it's level 3 with these like weird wormy creatures that drop from the ceiling. Maybe that's level 4. And if you don't whip them, they will latch onto you and like immediately take away half your health. They are a bad time. Least favorite enemy in the entire game was that one right there. I found weird was they have these statues throughout the levels, and you have to destroy statues in order to find a key or various orbs and health and whatnot. And the keys are very much kind of like the Klonoa WonderSwan game we just played, where it's like a heart, spade, diamond, and those will open up the doors to get to other sections of the level. So it's not a linear type of game. It's very much go forward through this. It makes you go forward through a linear type path. Then you find the key, and you have to remember where that door was. So you have to backtrack a little differently to get to the door, and then it takes you through a new level. So it's not just a left to right, up and down situation. It's kind of all over the place. I really enjoyed that, and I never felt like I was getting lost throughout levels.
Sounds a lot like Descent in Doom, where you have to collect the red key to open the red door earlier in the stage, or yellow and blue keys.
Very much like that, yeah. Yeah, this is from I've tried out a bunch of PC-98 games. A lot of them are visual novels. This is one of the few like pure action games on there, and I thought it did a very good job, even though it's an absolute Castlevania clone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a clone, but it's a good clone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I pass it.
Yeah, I definitely passed this.
I pass it.
Hey, look at that. And you thought I was going to make you suffer. Horrible night for a curse? I don't think so. Okay. The next game is one that I was really hoping you guys would kind of take it a step further so we could talk more about the bondage cutscenes that I was going to have. Because I read a couple lists and of like best PC-98 games or games you must play for the PC-98. Night Slave comes up on that list quite a lot, near the middle-ish. Rusty's more at the top. So if you look up like a top 20 list, this might come in at like 12 or 15, around there. Night Slave is a run-and-gun mech game with missiles and weapons and everything, and it takes place in this what would you call it? A not a Gundam type universe, but there's definitely giant battleships. There's a crew with one old dude, and all the
Armored
rest are
Core.
women.
Very Armored Core like.
Like a 2D Armored Core. I like that. Yeah. Your mech employs thrusters, which you can go up and down, left and right kind of deal, and boost yourself on the ground to go even faster, which is very key for like heavy boss battles, especially the first one. The level design is a little. I can see why it's more simplistic than you'd think it could have been, because God, when there was a lot of stuff going down, the slowdown in this game was egregious. It was pretty rough. Because every enemy has like all these bullets going off, even your own mech. Every time you fire the weapon, a bullet comes out, a shell will come out and go arc behind you. So there's a lot of attention to detail in that design aspect. But the enemies themselves are very much here. A lot of the same turrets, a lot of the same turret placements, a lot of the same other mechs that aren't the same as yours. I guess that makes the story of this unique. Of you're this like 5-girl force, and you all have unique Gundams type things to you, and that gives you the assault edge in battle. Now, upon beating each stage and each one, you have the option to turn off the porn scenes, essentially, where you can just concentrate on the quote-unquote story, where it's just a lot of dialogue of them going through the various world battle that they're going through. So then what's the point? I mean, don't you guys want to see some hot lesbian bondage action in between the scenes as they're quote-unquote training for their next battle?
No, the box art's all I need.
Okay. Well, describe the box art then.
Lesbian bondage. Let's see. There's one girl who has tubes all over her. Another one looks chained down. Some girl on a bed is fingering herself. Another girl who's strapped up, having her titties sucked and fingered by 2 half robot women. A beach scene where they're all pleasuring one woman, and then an intimate scene where one lady's laying on the other while fingering her. So, very, very classy. And then there's 3 images of gameplay.
You forgot the one with the lady being pounded from behind.
Oh yeah, I forgot that one. Head down, ass up. Looks like her arms are either tied or being held behind, and she's getting railed.
Yep. She's drooling all over herself.
Oh my god. See, I don't know why you wouldn't go the extra mile and want to play this.
Kind of like they're burying the lead of what the game actually is.
A mech battle game?
It's all they need. That's what sells copies.
I would say gameplay-wise, my biggest issue was the lack of level design, and the fact that the bosses take an absurd amount of damage. Their health bars are crazy big. Like the second level is you're basically fighting on better submarines. We'll just call them like battleship and submarines. And the final boss of that just takes ages to beat. Like I had to save scum the shit out of it because of how long it took. And eventually, like, the missiles that hit you do so much damage, and there's not a whole lot of health pickups. So the way this works is when you destroy an enemy or a turret, it'll have an energy icon to it, okay? And boy, do they disappear fast. You got to get it, like, immediately. So you can... very much in kind of like how Gradius plays, where you have a bar on the left-hand side, there's 5 options to it, and they're all upgrades to your weaponry or shield. more often than not, I'd say 9 out of 10 times, you're just going to consume the energy so you can get some health back because of how easy it is to get hit, how easy it is to lose health. And it's very rare to come across a situation where you can finally like upgrade your weapon to a level 2 or 3, because the way that works is it essentially doubles or triples what you need to level up for the next one. So you have to be very strategic in when you do that, because as you progress through the game, it kind of progresses with you. So if you stick at like a level 1 or 2 weapon, your enemies will be able to be eventually, like your normal enemies, will be able to be defeated with that. And then the boss, at least the way I interpreted it was, the boss health bar will be scaled to that. It'll still take a lot, but if you have like a level 3 weapon by that point, then it's even larger and your damage isn't quite equivalent to how you're taking it off, say if it was like a level 1 or 2. That's very annoying in how much health these things take to kill most of the time. And I think there could have been a much better system in place than the Gradius tactic of how you level things up. Because like I said, 9 out of 10 times, you're just attributing it to gaining your health back a little more. There is a 1 life death system to it as you progress the level. It does save at the start of each level, but once you die, you have to start the whole thing over again. So not as punishing as a game over screen with 3 lives, but the levels are long enough where you're like, man, that is a harsh punishment, especially when you get to these boss battles and they obliterate you so quick because you just don't know what they're going to do, like, ever. And their hits are so pounding to you that it's kind of not fair. So very much a save scum usage system is what gets me through this game. It has its ups and downs. I think the bondage scenes are quite funny. Through them, I was more or less laughing most of the time. I mean, hey, motivated me to keep playing. Let me tell you.
This should have been the Giggity cast.
Well, we can always do some more PC 98 games to do Giggity Part 2.
Yeah, like 3 years later.
I don't think so. I could make it my next topic. Let's see.
No, it has to be. It has to have the number 69 in it somewhere.
I mean, I could just say PC,
or maybe 34.
PC 69 and just make it PC 98 hentai games.
I mean, there's also episode 234. Get it?
Oh, yeah, could do that. That's a ways away, though. All right, tell me what you guys thought about the said mech game itself.
I mean, that's basic mech game.
Mm.
Yeah,
You thought it was
much more I
basic?
can say that you haven't.
I didn't think it was like anything too crazy.
I mean, it came out in 1996. I was expecting a little more than that.
Some enemies seemed a bit bullet spongy.
Yes,
particularly
they did.
Turrets.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have to blow up the foot soldiers. It's kind of annoying.
I mean, you can really just ignore them most of the time.
Yeah, the playthrough I was watching made a point of shooting them.
I kind of just ran by them. I didn't really pay him much mind.
And the jetpack mechanic reminded me a bit of Blaster Master.
Yep.
The sound effects weren't that great.
Oh my god, so much cutout in it throughout. Like, the music in Rusty was phenomenal. Like, that's what you heard when you're listening back to this. That's what you heard at the start. The music in Rusty was absolutely out of this world. And then the music here, it would stop mid-level. There's a lot of dialogue that just comes across the screen randomly Even in the middle of the first boss battle, all of a sudden you'll get hit with this text that takes up half the screen. You're like, get the fuck out of here. I can't see. And that's what caused me to die like 3 straight times. I'm like, oh my god, go away.
Jeez. Yeah, and the explosions don't exactly sound like explosions. They're more like cap gun sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. The sound effects and lack of music and constantly getting cut out. Not good for this one.
I mean, the customizability of your mech is kind of cool. It's like Joey said, it's basically 2D Armored Core.
Yeah, it really makes me want to play Armored Core.
But I guess overall it gets a pass.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that too. Like overall, from that standpoint, it gets a pass. It is 1996. Did expect a little more. The game is functional. It does have its interest. More than just the funny bondage scenes we can make fun of. It's one. I gotta say, it's one of the better like mech games prior to the big Armored Core days.
I'm a fail it.
Ooh, why exactly?
It just doesn't seem like it's worth the hassle to try to track down and play.
Well, it's all emulation at this point in these days, because it is PC 98.
Yeah, still.
There are a few websites where you can download all the installation discs to make it work, and that everything is very much streamlined to make it easier now. I wanted to more or less emulate, if you will, the original installation process, which is an option. And I'm like, man, this is a lot of work. By the time I got to Night Slave, and I was trying to get that, the emulator you can install, you can essentially just click on one thing, and it'll go through the boot series like you're installing everything else on its own. So I didn't really have an issue going through that process. Okay. So our two games were Rusty and Night Slave on the PC 98. Are you feeling lusty or bondagey, Colin? What was your favorite? Was it bondage or being lustful?
I mean, it looks like Rusty had more enjoyable gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm leaning towards Rusty.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of in agreement with that. Would you say so, Joey?
Yeah, Rusty was a better game.
What was the better sexiness? It's got to be Night Slave, right?
Yeah, by a landslide.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, yeah, it had a sexy mech.
Certainly had better definition to the sexy images than Rusty.
See, okay, we're also in agreement with that. All right, what are our tiers then? What are we tiering this?
I give them both Bs.
Joey?
Both Cs.
Ooh. I think I'm with Colin. I think I'm going both Bs. So, I guess that goes B for everything then. Kind of evens out that way. All right.
How appropriate. B
I have
for boobies.
Yeah, B for boobs. Yeah, I'm happy that we didn't just have like a 3DO type reaction where this is garbage. It's not working. I could have picked some bad games. I could have. Don't you guys forget that. All right. So our next podcast is Colin's theme pick. What you got?
It is Puzzle Games Part 3. At least yeah, it's 3. We're doing some more puzzle games. One I have played all the way through and enjoyed, and is a sequel to a game we've played previously. And another I have never played, but it's been sitting on my shelf collecting dust for years. So I want to dust that one off and give it a go.
Good deal. I like a good puzzle game. I think right now is a good change of pace for that. All right. That'll do it for this cast. I'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye now.